He went home for 48 hours without telling his fiancée where he was. He came back and told her that he normally dates women who do CrossFit. He went to a strip club that same night, posted a photo with a dancer on his lap, on an Instagram account he built specifically for the occasion, even though he swore in the pods he did not have Instagram. He then slid into his friend's fiancé's DMs at 11:30 at night, showed up at the group bowling night, pulled that same woman aside, and told her that her fiancé, his supposed friend, was too submissive for her. All of that. In less than 72 hours. Chris Fusco entered Love is Blind Season 10 as a quiet background character. He left as the most talked about villain this show has produced in years. And today we are going through every single thing this man did, in order, with full receipts. Because the internet has had a lot to say about Chris Fusco. And honestly, the internet is not wrong. Stay with me. Here is what we are covering. First, who Chris actually was before all of this went sideways, because context matters and I want to be fair before I am absolutely not fair. Second, the full breakdown of everything that happened in episodes 7 through 9 in chronological order, because when you lay it all out in sequence, it is somehow worse than watching it unfold in real time. Third, what Chris said in his Entertainment Weekly interview after the episodes dropped, and why his explanation made everything significantly worse. And fourth, my final verdict on where Chris Fusco lands in the Love is Blind Villain Hall of Fame. And I have a ranking. It is spicy. Let's go. If you are new here, welcome. We break down every red flag, every bad excuse, and every "did he really just say that out loud" moment from the shows you cannot stop watching. Subscribe and hit the bell because this one is going to be a long one and you are going to want to share it with everyone you know. All right, who is Chris Fusco before the chaos? Chris is 33 years old, a military veteran, an account executive from Ohio. He came on to Love is Blind describing himself as a fitness enthusiast. He does Ironman triathlons, he trains in jiu-jitsu, he works out constantly. His Netflix bio literally said he is looking for someone to match his pace on the treadmill. That line is going to become very important later. He has a cat named Chalupa and a dog named Cookie. He came out of a 6-year relationship before the show. He told Netflix he was looking for an emotionally intelligent woman. He talked about wanting a best friend. He talked about wanting to build something real. In the pods, he formed 2 strong connections. Jessica Barrett, a 39-year-old infectious disease physician, and Bree McNeese, a 34-year-old senior merchant, both smart women, both accomplished, both way out of his league in hindsight. The pods were genuinely good for Chris. He opened up. He was warm. He was present. When he was with Jessica, he told her she was his favorite person he could possibly ever consider. He proposed. She said yes. And for a few episodes, it genuinely looked like these two had something real. And then they got on a plane home to Ohio. Let me walk you through what happened next, in order, because this timeline is its own kind of art. Day 1 back in Ohio. The couples move in together and start living real life. Most of them are navigating the awkwardness of meeting their person for real for the first time and trying to build a daily routine from scratch. Normal stuff, expected stuff. Chris goes out for drinks with friends and does not come home. For 48 hours, not one call. Barely any texts, just gone. For 2 days. Jessica, a woman who spent the height of a global pandemic treating critically ill patients, who went home every night to a marriage that was not working, who went on a marriage experiment specifically because she wanted to finally find security and consistency, waited and tried to reach him and got nothing. When Chris finally came back, Jessica asked him what happened, and instead of apologizing, instead of acknowledging that disappearing for 48 hours on your fiancé with no communication is not something a partner does, he turned the conversation into a question about whether she thought they had a strong physical connection. Jessica is a doctor. She has been in high-stakes situations her entire career. She did not panic. She did not spiral. She asked him directly, "What do you mean?" And Chris told her. He said he normally dates women who do CrossFit and Pilates. Women who work out every day. Women with and this is almost word for word, a different type of body. Jessica finished his sentence for him. She said, a different type of body? And then she said, if my body is not going to be good enough for you, I am never going to beg you to love me. And she left. Jessica Barrett, who has more dignity in her entire being than Chris has demonstrated in 72 hours of television, ended her engagement cleanly, without drama, without tears, without giving him a single moment of doubt to exploit. She just left. She is a physician. She saved lives during COVID. She went home every night to a marriage that was not working. She rebuilt herself. She went on this show with real hope. And this man sat across from her and said the words, CrossFit and Pilates while she was listening. Can you believe that? The audacity of this breakup conversation is something I have thought about multiple times since watching it, not because physical compatibility does not matter. It does, and I will address that. But because of the timing, the 48-hour disappearance, the strip club, the DMs, everything that came after the breakup tells you exactly what kind of person was sitting across from Jessica in that apartment. Because here is where it gets truly unhinged. And I need you to lock in right here, because this is the sequence that turned a bad breakup into a full villain arc. The same night Chris and Jessica ended their engagement, Chris went to a strip club. Now, is going to a strip club illegal? No. Chris himself said, and I quote, strip clubs are not illegal, which is technically true and also the least self-aware defense a person has ever offered on national television. But here is the thing. He did not just go to a strip club, he posted about it on Instagram, with a dancer sitting on his lap, and grinning at the camera on an Instagram account that he created specifically for this photo, after spending weeks in the pods telling everyone, including Jessica and Bree, that he did not have Instagram. Let me say that again clearly. This man told his pod connections he had no social media presence. Then he built an Instagram account. Then he used that Instagram account, on the first night he was single, to post a strip club photo. And then he followed Bree on that same account and sent her a DM at 11:30 at night that said, and I need you to read this in the voice of a man who has absolutely zero self-awareness. Oh, yeah! And then, when she asked what happened between him and Jessica, he replied, call me. Call me. He DM'd his friend's fiancée at 11:30 at night with oh yeah and call me, the day after his own engagement ended. But wait, it gets worse. Emma Betzinger, another cast member, looked at Chris's new Instagram account and noticed something. All of his followers were fake accounts, random profiles with no posts and no followers of their own. Emma said on camera that Chris had bought his Instagram followers. So let me recap where we are. He disappeared for 48 hours. He body-shamed his fiancée during the breakup. He went to a strip club. He built a secret Instagram he said he didn't have. He posted the strip club photo. He bought fake followers. He DM'd Bree at 11:30 at night, all within approximately 24 hours of his engagement ending. And he was not done. The bowling alley. Chris shows up to the group outing as a single man, while every other person at that event is still engaged to someone. He is visibly drunk, according to multiple cast members. The women are already talking about the strip club photo, the DMs, the bot followers. The mood around Chris is not warm. And then he pulls Bree aside, in front of everyone, in front of Connor, his supposed friend, the man who had been giving Chris relationship advice after the breakup. Connor, who genuinely thought they were cool. Connor, who was at that same bar trying to enjoy a night out with his fiancée. Chris tells Bree that Connor is too submissive for her, that she needs someone more dominant, that he, Chris Fusco, 48 hours removed from his own broken engagement, fresh off a strip club visit and a fake Instagram launch, is that person. He told Bree he also told Connor she goes for 21 to 25-year-olds, on camera, out loud, about Connor's own fiancée. The episode ended there, with Connor at the bar not knowing what was being said to Bree, with Bree looking genuinely shocked and conflicted, and with every woman in that bowling alley watching Chris and arriving at the same conclusion that the entire internet arrived at when the episode dropped. This man is delusional. Now, let's talk about what Chris said after the episodes dropped, because he sat down with Entertainment Weekly and gave an interview, and I need to walk you through it carefully because the interview is its own kind of content. He said, and these are his words, "I made some mistakes. I'll own those mistakes." Okay, fair, a start. He was then asked about the body-shaming comments to Jessica. He said he would have expressed himself differently looking back. He said he was trying to be transparent. He said he wanted to be completely honest about how he was feeling. He was then asked about the strip club photo. He said, "Strip clubs are not illegal." He was asked about sliding into Bry's DMs. He acknowledged it happened. He was then asked about the bowling alley conversation, telling Bree that Connor is too submissive for her, and this is the part that I think reveals the most about Chris Fusco as a person, because he did not really apologize for it. He said he does not give, and this is a quote, "a flying you-know-what about going after Bree while she is in a relationship." He said people are entitled to their opinions. He said he does not concern his day with things he cannot control. He said he can only move forward and look ahead. And then he said, "I am a real person. I am not just a storyline." Now, I want to engage with that last point seriously for a second, because he is right that reality TV editing does not always show the full picture. That is true. That is a fair thing to say about any reality show. People are complex. Editing creates narratives. But here is the problem with that defense for Chris specifically. The things that happened, the 48-hour disappearance, the CrossFit comment, the strip club, the fake Instagram, the DMs at 11:30 at night, the bowling alley conversation. None of those things were manufactured by editing. They were confirmed by multiple cast members who were there. They were confirmed by Chris himself in the same interview. The timeline is not in dispute. The editing did not make any of those things happen. Chris made those things happen. And his response to being called out on them on national television in a major entertainment publication was essentially, "I did it. Strip clubs are not illegal. I'm not worried about what people think moving forward." That is not accountability. That is a press appearance. All right, hot takes, and I am going in. Hot take number 1. The body-shaming conversation with Jessica is the worst single moment of this entire season. Not the strip club, not the DMs, the breakup. Because everything else Chris did happened after the engagement ended. He was single. His behavior was embarrassing and chaotic, but it was his own life to embarrass. The breakup conversation is different. Because in that moment, he sat across from a woman he had proposed to, a woman who had opened her life up to him and planned a future with him, and he told her, while she was sitting there, that her body was not the right type of body, that he is used to a different kind of woman, that she did not match the physical standard he is used to. Jessica Barrett is a physician. She is accomplished, intelligent, and by every visible measure an exceptional human being. And she had to sit across from this man and hear that her body was the deal breaker. That is not honesty. That is cruelty dressed up as transparency. Hot take number 2. The most revealing thing Chris said in this entire saga is not the CrossFit line. It is the fact that he told Bree, his friend Connor's fiancée, that he does not care about going after her while she is in a relationship. He literally said that. To a journalist, in a published interview. No part of him recognized that telling your friend's fiancée she is with the wrong man while your friend is at the same bar is a betrayal of that friendship. He just did not see it. And the fact that he could not see it tells you everything you need to know about how Chris processes the impact of his actions on other people. Hot take number 3, and this is the one I know is going to split the comments. I actually believe Chris when he says physical compatibility matters to him and that he tried to be honest about it. I believe that part. Attraction is real. Lifestyle compatibility is real. People break up on this show all the time over things like this. But here is what Chris got catastrophically wrong. If physical attraction became a concern after the pods, after Mexico, after moving in together, the correct thing to do was have a private, honest, kind conversation with Jessica about what you were feeling, not disappear for 48 hours, not bring up CrossFit during a breakup, not go to a strip club and post about it that same night, Not DM her replacement at 11:30 p.m., not tell that replacement's fiancé he is too submissive. The issue was never that he had concerns. The issue is every single decision he made about how to handle those concerns. Where do I put Chris in the Love is Blind villain ranking? Above Shake from Season 2, because Shake was at least entertaining in a chaotic way that felt almost unintentional. Below Jeremy and Steven from Season 6, because those two had actual premeditated betrayals happening in real time with real targets. Chris is somewhere in the middle, the chaos villain, the man who did not plan any of this, but somehow made every available wrong choice anyway. Comment below. Where do you put Chris in the Love is Blind villain ranking? And be specific. I want names and reasons, because the comments on this episode have been incredible and I need to know where the internet stands. Let's land this plane. Chris Fusco came onto Love is Blind looking for an emotionally intelligent woman. He found her. She was a physician with more grace and self-respect than most people will ever develop in a lifetime. And he handled it by disappearing for 48 hours, telling her she needed to do CrossFit, going to a strip club, building a fake Instagram, DMing her replacement at midnight, and then showing up at a bowling alley to tell that replacement her fiancé was not man enough for her. Jessica Barrett walked out of that apartment with her head held high and did not look back once. Chris is still talking about moving forward and looking ahead. The show continues. The finale is March 4th on Netflix. And I am doing the full breakdown the second those credits roll. Every alter moment, every reaction, and my complete tier ranking of every Season 10 cast member from absolutely iconic to Sir, what were you thinking? Drop a like if this breakdown gave you the catharsis you needed. Subscribe if you are new. The finale video is going to be everything. Hit the bell so you do not miss it. I'll see you March 4th. And Jessica, if you are somehow watching this, you absolute legend.